It is the 24th day of June 2025. A very good morning to you. This is Morning Cafe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Less than 24 hours away from the Gen Z revolt anniversary.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's a morning cafe on the international front. A lot of happenings in the Middle East. What exactly is happening as a ceasefire has been called between Israel and Iran? We'll be giving you more details of that later on. My name is Fred Indebo.
My name is Ann Odida. Tuangalie magazeti sasa. We start off with the Standard exposed.
Just one word. Who's being exposed there? Well, on the Daily Nation, probably an indication of who's being exposed on the Standard. The warmongers.
People daily anxiety in key cities over Gen Z demos.
Yes. On the Star today being a free copy, matters different at Gen Z. Root of crisis, inside debt burden. And finally, the CS for Treasury gets a full page up. Ile picha alikuwa na expect the day after budget reading. Sasa at least amepata hapo on the Star. Wengine wote wamnyuma.
It's time to shine.
Yeah, it's time to shine.
Taifa Leo tuko tayari.
And finally, on the Business Daily, state eyes extra 129 billion shilling debt for what? Housing projects. How about that? We'll be looking at these headlines and a lot more with my panelists this morning, starting at 6:30. Members of the National Assembly, Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, Sabina Chege was a nominated MP, and James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, mostly Nairobi. Tujue kesho Nairobi kutakuwa kunaendaje. That coming away at 6:30.
All right. Today being Tuesday, it's Biashara. Tuesday, we'll be talking to George Munga, Finance and Accounts Insurance Analyst, on business resilience after disruptions. Of course, we see a lot of disruptions, especially after these mandamanos. So we'll be talking about everything.
There's a story from what happened last year. They say that some of the businesses that were disrupted by the Gen Z protests last year are yet to reopen.
Oh, really?
1 year later.
Oh, wow. Judge Munga will be here for that. How businesses can stand resilience even after disruptions. Then we'll be talking to Florence Odhiambo, trainer at St. John's Ambulance, on bans and fire safety.
All right. Let's see what people are talking about elsewhere in the region. And we start off in Uganda. The Daily Monitor talks about veterans of the game. These are, they call them Pakalast. Pakalast, what is that? I think must be the Sheng. With only 6 months until the 2026 general election, a string of veteran MPs, some in their 80s, and others running to add as many as 35 years to their tenure, have log-jammed the queue. Stories on pages 4 and 5. And I can see one of them. We were up 86-year-old, perhaps the eldest. Here, I saw a video of him.
Yes.
And you're not sure if he's walking or dancing. It's called General Moses Ali Ajumani.
And he's still vying.
He's still vying, but when he walks, you'll be confused. You're not sure if he's walking or dancing.
Yeah.
He could be the oldest lawmaker. That's the main story on the front page of the Daily Monitor. The only other story is about, yes, what we've mentioned. Israel hits Iran's Evin prison, says strikes on Tehran are biggest yet. But the situation by this morning appears to have changed somewhat.
New Vision still in Uganda. Buganda list prepared for 2026 elections. 82% of Ugandans sampled say they will vote in 2026 polls. That story is on page 67. And we've noticed that the New Vision is talking more about politics even ahead of the elections next year. Other stories here. Museveni yesterday wasn't on the front page. Today is here. And I warned landlords. Landlords warned against eviction.
So why is his face on the front page if the story is about landlords?
You see, you must know that he's warning them.
He's somewhere in a crowd.
Yes.
He's already campaigning for 2026. Yes.
Other stories. Why are beef prices increasing? 150 billion shillings roadworks launched in Kampala. And that's the New Vision.
Right. Tuvuke boda tuingie Tanzania. We start off with the Citizen, where they talk matters infrastructure. inside Tanzania's nuclear power generation plan. Okay, maswala ya nuclear sasa watu wameongelea nuclear sana. Tanzania is gathering momentum in its bid to exploit its uranium reserves for electricity generation. Sio vita. With government officials confirming that initial steps toward a nuclear energy program are already underway. Some of the sites there already. The energy PS in Tanzania inaitwa Felichesmi Mramba. So our journey started following directives from President Samia Suluhu Hassan. We're training our experts and engaging with the international institutions, including the International Atomic and Energy Agency. So Tanzania is estimated to have at least 58,000 tons of proven uranium reserves. So they have that capability to that extent. The other story is why Magufuli Bridge is transformative national asset. Was it launched yesterday?
Monday? Yes.
Yes, yesterday on Monday. So just people giving their own understanding of how this will impact on the country. They talked to the Transport Minister Mbarawa, the Planning and Investment Minister Mkumbo, the Information Minister Kabudi, and huyo mwingine ni wakazi gani? Works Minister anaitwa Ulega. Pale juu EAC cuts budget amid non-remittance of dues by member states. At least them they are being realistic. Kama amuleti pesa, we cut the budget because otherwise tunadanganya watu tutafanya, tutatenda na tuwezi. Yes. That's a citizen in Tanzania.
All right, mwananchi tukisalia kule Tanzania, vigogo polisi kunyongwa, mauaji ya muuza madini. Wahukumiwa adhabu ya kifo yumo OCD na Kachero Kalanje, watano waachiwa huru, ndugu jamaa waangua vilio mahakamani, familia ya marehemu yatoa kauli. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 3. Huyu hapa ni mfanyabiashara wa madini Musa Hamisi, ana miaka 25, aliuawa kwa kuchomwa sindano ya sumu kisha mwili wake kutupwa kwenye korongo. Musa alikuwa akifuatilia fedha zake shilingi milioni 33 zilizochukuliwa na polisi hao. Ndio huyu hapa on the far left. Idadi ya maofisa wa polisi walioachiwa huru katika kesi hiyo ni 5. Yumo aliyekuwa ofisa intelijensia ya jinai mkoa wa Mtwara anaitwa Nicholas Kisinza, mkaguzi msaidizi Marco Chigingo, mkaguzi wa polisi John Msuya, mganga mkuu wa zahanati ya polisi wa zahanati ya polisi John Msuya.
Mganga mkuu wa zahanati ya polisi. Lakini nafikiri mganga kwao ni kama tu daktari.
Okay. Mkaguzi msaidizi Shirazi Mkupa na Koplo Salim Mbalo, just those officers ambao watanyongwa. Habari vidokezo vingine, Mwinyi aacha shangwe kwa wawakilishi ajivunia Zanzibar. Na JP Magufuli ni zaidi ya daraja kwa taifa kulingana na kulingana na waziri wa ujenzi Abdalla Ulega. On the top strip, 63.2 billion shillings kuinua wajasiriamali makazi Tanzania. Nchimbi shusha kibano kwa wagombea CCM, Chama cha Mapinduzi. Anasema kibano kingine kimewashukia wanaowania nafasi mbalimbali za uongozi kupitia Chama cha Mapinduzi CCM. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 2 gazeti la Mwananchi.
All right. We'll be about to take a look at this dailies, but I think it's just as important to give them that international news update that President Donald Trump has announced a phased ceasefire between Israel and Iran, set to begin with Iran stopping its attacks at midnight Eastern Time on Tuesday, followed by Israeli 12 hours later. The agreement aims to conclude a conflict Trump referred to as a 12-day war. However, reactions from both nations have been mixed, with Iran suggesting no agreement exists unless Israel ceases its military operations first, while Israeli officials have not yet officially confirmed the ceasefire. So it's only Donald Trump who's announced the ceasefire. Wenye wanapigana wenyewe wanasema ngoja tuone.
Yes. All right, let's take a look at the traffic
Probably
weather.
Start with the weather situation.
Yes, let's start with the weather.
Tuangazie Zoom.earth wanatuambia nini? Mbona yes, mawingu yazidi kutanda eneo la bara la Afrika, maeneo tofauti. And you can see some cloud cover moving closer towards the East African region. Hapa border ya Ethiopia, South Sudan, getting into Uganda and into DRC, and some of them also into Tanzania. Bigger cloud covers are on the western side of the continent. So let's focus a bit on Kenya. Tuone kama tuna mawingu kweli kweli. Most of the cloud cover in South Sudan and Uganda, as well as in DRC. A bit of it over the Lake Victoria region. So you can start off probably in Garissa, in Kenya, tuone kama kuna anything of importance. It is clear skies in Garissa today. 22 degrees Celsius as we speak, feels like 25. Na ukiangalia hapa ni jua to the whole day. Highs of 33, quite warm in Garissa today. No chance of rainfall at all in Garissa.
Kilifi, 23 degrees in Kilifi, feels like 25. Clear skies with periodic clouds. Highs of 28 degrees. Precipitation in Kilifi, 6.5 millimeters. Ni mtapata mvua.
Mtapata mvua lakini bado unaweza vaa vest. It's holiday weather. To the western part of the country, 15 degrees Celsius in Kakamega. Partly cloudy for the better part of the day. Lakini unaangalia pia jua. Highs of 26 degrees. Sio mbaya. It's a bit warm there. 0.5 millimeters in as far as precipitation is concerned.
All right. Nyeri, 13 degrees, feels like it, mostly cloudy. Highs of 22 degrees and precipitation in Nyeri today, 0.2 millimeters. And finally, Nairobi.
13 degrees, it's a bit chilly in Nairobi, feels like it. Jana walikuwa nasema 16 degrees, lakini hii ni ukweli. Because it actually feels like 12 or 10. Partly cloudy for the better part of the day. Highs of 24 degrees. Upper precipitation, 0 as well. So ni kijibaridi tu cha asubuhi.
All right, tuangalie sasa traffic. It's about 13 minutes.
All right, major tributaries into town look green. I don't know if anything has changed so far. Hapa hii itakuwa shida. Because at this time of day, this is not supposed to have stretched this far back. Because the traffic jam just before you get to the Utali, to the Pangani interchange is going as far back as the Utali drift, just before survey. Meaning, Thika Road, wala wanakuja kutoka hiyo barabara, mutachelewa. It will take you longer to just get past the Pangani interchange. And even farther, kule juu, areas around Kasarani, you can see stretches of yellow there. Just before you get to the Kasarani interchange, again, once you get to Garden City Mall, another stretch of yellow. Again, at drive-in, pale, after Allsops, another stretch of yellow. Ni kama kuna shida Thika Road leo. Because you can see, within those few seconds, it's stretching even far back as Utali drift. So it means, coming from Thika Road, kutakuwa na shida pale Pangani interchange. Kiambu Road, nothing much to worry about, but whatever is happening at the interchange at Pangani might affect you. Jogoo Road, nothing out of the ordinary, ni ile stretch pale Ambotela na pale City Stadium roundabout. Once you get to town, at least leo pale Gikomba Market imefunguka. Jana kulikuwa red barabara yote. Once you get onto Haile Selassie Avenue, Railways bus station, getting into town, it's getting busy in areas around Marikiti. Tukirudi huko eastern side of the city, kawaida traffic pale further na Tasia, heading towards Donholm. Kangundo Road not looking bad today. Lakini mona pale, if you're coming from Mombasa Road, just before you get to that interchange at City Cabanas, there's a long stretch of yellow, meaning na nile ya chini, sio ile expressway, nile ya chini, the main Mombasa Road. Other than that, everything else is smooth all the way into town from all the other major tributaries. But Thika Road, hapa kuna shida. We'll be back to take a look at this if we get some time at around 1:30. All
right, let's take a look at the quote of the day.
Your potential is limitless, but it requires consistency and belief in yourself. Every small step forward, no matter how difficult, gets you closer to your dreams.
All right. So yes, just before we get back to the local dailies, at least we keep on updating you on what is happening in the Middle East. We do have an update. President Donald Trump of the United States has announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And he says, congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours. So ni ile mnaambiwa hizo zenye mlikuwa mnarusha maliza kurusha alafu tuende. At which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. Now, during each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I'd like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12th-day war. Now, this is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. That's a statement by Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, but we still don't have any confirmation from either Israel or Iran. This is just coming from the United States.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. We start off with the Daily Nation. The warmongers. Shame action will be taken against people beating drums of violence, warns National Cohesion Agency. Reckless, they say. Some of President William Ruto's allies have sent a chilling warning to Gen Zs, civil society activists and opposition politicians planning to take part in countrywide protests tomorrow to mark the first anniversary of the June 25th, 2024 historic invasion of Parliament, that they may not return to their homes. Now, these regrettable statements, apart from stoking public anger, depict state officials who are insensitive to the plight of Kenyans who lost their loved ones in the deadly demos against punitive taxes and government excesses, and risks plunging the country into anarchy. Now, this story has been covered on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The warmongers are here. David Ndii, chairperson of President Ruto's Council of Economic Advisors, alisema, wewe tokea, you just turn up and say your goodbye before you leave home, just in case you catch a stray. William Kamket MP Tiati anasema, I hear there are people planning to cause violence like last time. They cried of the mayhem caused by the goons brought last week. Let them try next week, that is tomorrow, and we will know there are Pokot youth.
Yesterday we hosted the former West Pokot Senator, Samuel Pogisio, and he kept on saying there's nothing like this will happen.
Yes.
The youth from Pokot will not be used for such things. So yes, politicians can say anything.
Alisema Pokot wametoka mbali sana.
Alisema they don't have time for that. Alisema hakuna mahali mutatoa youth from West Pokot wakuje ati hapa kuleta shida.
Silvanus Osoro, Majority Party Whip, alisema, last week you incited the youth and we are aware there are plans to do the same in the name of June 25th anniversary. We are telling you that this time it will not be business as usual. The warmongers on the front page of the Daily Nation. Other stories here. Are we ready? Principals warn on grade 10 transition, and the principals who are meeting for their annual Kenya Secondary Schools Heads Association conference in Mombasa want the government to address retooling of teachers in career pathways, sustainable financing of schools, congestion and learners' health insurance under the Social Health Authority. They also want to be guided on how national schools, which take boarders, will accommodate day scholars. Big leap of faith inside Kipyegon's monumental Breaking 4 project in Parhi. A play of words there. Big leap of faith. Of Faith Kipyegon.
She's looking to be the first Olympics 1500 meters champions. So she'll be attempting to be the first woman to run a historic sub 4-minute mile on Thursday in Paris. Less than 4 minutes. Okay.
Big leap of faith. Other stories inside this newspaper: businesses looted by goons still grounded a year later. You mentioned that. I witnessed deaths, burials of protesters. That is Zaha Indimuli.
No relation at all.
She was actively involved in the June 2025 anti-finance bill protests.
There was a very nice story that I saw. Okay, not really nice story. Somewhere inside the Daily Nation.
Yes.
There's a CS who's in trouble. I don't think it's here, probably. Yes, the CS in legal tussle with a estranged lover. A current CS. Hawajasema jina yake. Kina wanasema alienda Dubai matembezi. Akakutana na mrembo huko. Mambo yakatendeka. Sasa wako na mtoto wa miaka 2.
Oh wow.
Miaka 2. Lakini yule dada anasema yeye hataki kukaa hapa Kenya. Anataka huyu ampeleke Europe akaishi huko.
Oh wow.
Na kwa kimlipia akiwa huko Europe.
Very well.
Because hiyo ndio standard anataka.
Wow.
Anataki hapa Kenya.
Wanasema you maintain them how you got them. There's an interesting one here. OCS and 5 others charged with Ojwang's murder. That is Samson Talam, the Nairobi Central Police Station, OCS. And
the question is, I saw that statement from the police, the ODPP, that the list of people who will be charged. Curiously, and this is a question everyone is asking, the name of DIG Eliud Langat is curiously missing from that list. So Wakenya hawajafurahia hiyo maneno.
Last week we were talking about, all the newspapers were talking about resign.
So ni kama ali step down.
Step aside.
Ali step aside, not even down, aside. So that means now that he's not on the list of people who will be charged, he could step back in. Yeah. We'll wait and see. Daily Nation. On the Star, ameenda mambo tofauti, masuala ya budget ambayo tulisahau kuzungumzia. Ruto crisis, inside debt burden. Revenues and critical projects stall as state grapples with severe cash flow headache. And this is the only story featured on the front page. Tukienda kule pages 4 and 5, drowning in debt. The country's deepening public debt crisis is straining national revenues and stalling critical development projects. This is a report by the Budget Controller. The latest national government expenditure report shows the state spent 13 times more on debt servicing than on development in the past 3 months. Ni kulipa madeni tu. So that's the main story on the Star. Remember, today being a Tuesday, it is a free copy of the Star. It's not for sale. So you can grab yourself a copy, leo haulipi, fresh, independent, different. And it comes with a complimentary pull-out, MyGov, for government tenders and jobs.
Taifa Leo, tuko tayari, ni mseto wa hisia wanarika wa Gen Z wakiapa kujumuika barabarani Nairobi, polisi nao wakiahidi usalama ila kwa masharti. On one side, maafisa wa usalama waliposhika doria katika barabara kuu ya Moi jijini Nairobi mwaka jana wakati wa maandamano ya Gen Z. On the other side, baadhi ya vijana wakishiriki maandamano jijini Eldoret kupinga mswada wa fedha wa mwaka 2024. Vijana wameapa kujimwaya katika barabara za jiji la Nairobi kesho kuadhimisha ukumbusho wa waliofariki mwaka jana.
And the contrast, because this is a very positive headline, because everyone is saying we are ready. Police are saying we are ready for you guys. Protesters are saying we are ready. But when it comes to politicians, they are saying ngoja mutaona. Tunaleta vijana kutoka sijui wapi mutaikipata. Wasema pengine hata mtarudi nyumbani. You see, but hapa wanasema hao wanakuja na washaambia polisi na polisi wamesema tuko tayari kuwalinda.
Dokezo vingine, Manda uwanja ndege usio na barabara. Uwanja ndege huu unaopatikana Lamu hufikiwa tu kwa anga au kupitia bahari. Oh, interesting. That story is on page 5. Sha, Duale sasa amruka Isaac Mwaura. Again, we are here again.
Alikuwa hapa Radio 47 jana akasema mambo tofauti.
Yes. Waziri wa afya akana madai kuwa wenye madeni ya Hustler Fund hawatatibiwa. Now which is which?
You see, Hustler Fund is not connected to SHA.
Yes.
And you could have made your contributions to SHA already. So ati sababu kuna deni ya Hustler Fund, hautatibiwa na umekuwa ukilipa SHA. Enya hata hiyo hapo government spokesman sijui alikuwa anajaribu kutuambia nini.
You know, I think somehow there's some truth to what Isaac Mwaura was saying, because there isn't clarity communication between, what is happening between Hustler Fund and SHA. I'll look into it and then I'll come back to clarify.
All right.
Elimu wakuu wahofia usajili wa sekondari, hiyo ni SS, senior secondary. Wasema walimu wa upili hawajafunzwa CBE, huku ufadhili wa serikali ukiwa bado ni duni. CBE is the one, CBC ya kitambo. Gachagua afunika Kindiki nyumbani kwake, mirindimo ya kisiasa inapoendelea. Naibu rais ajipata hana lake Mlima Kenya Mashariki.
Lakini Gachagua alikuwa anamuita majina mengine, sitaki kutaja.
Sitaje, watakasirikia tena.
Wewe watanikasirikia mimi, ni kama mimi nilisema.
Taifa Leo.
Matters Business, state eyes extra 129 billion shillings of debt for housing projects. And many Kenyans are wondering, okay, fine, there was already a housing levy. So why are we going for debt for the same project? What are we talking about? Yes. They say the amount to be raised from Sukuk bond and rights. Levy raises 72 billion shillings annually against a demand of 400 billion. So what were they expecting to do? The government plans to raise 129 billion shillings through the NSC using Sukuk bonds and real estate investment trusts known as rights to expand the affordable housing program. This is despite a substantial part of the taxes collected from the affordable housing levy lying unabsorbed, with the government parking the funds in treasury bills to earn interest. The irony of it all. Now, these are according to the Housing and Urban Development Principal Secretary Charles Hinga. He says the 120 billion collected so far from the affordable housing levy is inadequate when compared to 300 billion worth of construction works already underway. State House Social Protection sports burst budgets by 9 billion shillings. At least the Business Daily is talking about the budget. Ni kama ilitupita, all Kenyans, our consciousness around the budget making process ni kama ilizima kidogo, tukafocus on police brutality, but inaendelea. At the end of this week, a lot of things will have been made official to move. Treasury cuts revenue target at hard times. It's on the ticker. And Trans-Century East Africa Cables shares trading frozen. That's the Business Daily.
All right. People Daily, anxiety in key cities over Gen Z demos, fear. The Ruto regime, which is blamed for the killing of young brave Kenyans last year, faces an acid test as it confronts new protests with eyes on police conduct. This series has been covered on pages 4, 5, 6, and 7. And of course, lazima kukuwe na fear if we have warmongers like these ones on the front page of the Daily Nation. At least this time wamesema mapema. They said earlier sana that they will be marking that anniversary.
Yet the reaction by politicians is to threaten them. Kujeni mutaona. Tutaonyesha nani ndio mkuu.
Well, how the 2024 youth protests have pushed ODM to the edge.
That part is very uncomfortable. Or you are saying in squeeze.
Thrown under the bus, city police boss to be charged with Albert Ojwang's murder, that is Samson Talam, to be charged with 5 others alongside his deputy Mkwana. That's the People Daily.
On the Standard, and I think this is very much connected to what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. They talk about exposed planned mayhem. In a chilling expose, the Standard, this paper, uncovers messaging in WhatsApp groups. Now then they've gone deeper to actually kuleta ile evidence kwa kaltas. WhatsApp groups run by government bloggers and officials, UDA Secretariat staff and parastatal chiefs, where they have been planning how to infiltrate peaceful protests in the city, generating propaganda aimed at media houses and prominent individuals seen critical of the government. The tactics include unleashing goons, which they've done already last week, to cause mayhem, with clear instructions to steal smartphones from protesters, to stop them from capturing images of the protests, and police brutality. Sasa hapa wako na mtu mmoja anaitwa Kiki, who's the chief of staff, Felix Kosgei office. Anaitwa Nikita Masharia. Anasema mimi ningekuwa na sword watch abductions. Kuna mwingine hapa anaitwa Elizabeth Waithera, Liz Wasakaja. She's a political mobilizer. Sema jeshi ni kuu ni wako kwa ground. An eye for an eye. Wakenya wamejitokeza kupinga mapinduzi katika nchi yao. Enough is enough. Hata huyo William Kamketa ambaye yuko pale kwenye front page hiyo karatasi nyingine anasema amesema nini hapa? Mimi naweka open bill kwa vijana wangu kila simu unaleta na kupea 5k, they think ni mtu mwingine. So but they've quoted so many different people on that same WhatsApp group who are talking about these plans. Yeah, this is an expose. Will they deny? Watasema hiyo ni uongo. And I tell you, this is only a story covered on the front page of this, not even any other, a single highlight.
Good people focus. It is not over till it's over, then we engage gear 2.
Mwingine hapa sema, as long as a snake is still alive, never drop the stick. That's a Gek proverb.
That is still this Kiki, the chief of staff at Felix Kosgei's office.
Where? I tell you, this story continues on pages 4 and 5. Inside plot by state operatives to stop peaceful Gen Z anniversary protests. So it means that there were already plans to counter the protests, not using the police, but using other methods that we saw being exercised or practiced I think it was a rehearsal last week, especially unleashing goons. That's according to this paper. The Gen Z revolt has been given quite some prominence on the inside pages 4, 5, 6, where they talk about the budget and in connection with the revolt, the Treasury's quiet shift from grand finance bills to piecemeal amendments. Wanaifanya pole pole musisikie. On page 7, 1 year on since revolt, Gen Z still waits for reforms. And on page 8, the same. Let's pray for a Wednesday of peace and justice, not bullets and tear gas. Will that be the reality? That's the main story on the Standard. Pale nyuma wanaongea kuhusu Kenya Premier League, all play but no pay for KPL brigades. Kenyan footballers hawapati pesa.
There's a very interesting one here. Inatuhusu sisi sote. Shift deduction from gross salary violates tax law. High Court ruled yesterday. That was Justice Chacha Moita, and he said that 2.75% deduction from gross income is a double taxation.
All right. And that's a Standard.
Angalie caricature. Gen Z Memorial Week. This is the People, is it People Daily?
This is the Star.
This is the Star. Yes. Gen Z Memorial Week, of course, black page, tuna blood.
Covering parliament buildings.
Yes, picturing last year's events.
The protesters walisema kesho it will be like a vigil, so watapeleka candles, that's what we expect, probably flowers outside parliament where many people are shot dead.
Yeah.
But parliament is still covered in blood. So that's a cartoon, Gen Z Memorial Week. The People Daily, Stano's take. They talk about IEBC, 22 mini polls. That's a burden that the IEBC, that is, sijui kama wameanza kazi, because I've seen, you know, they were appointed and gazetted against a court injunction.
Yeah.
Sasa kuna wameenda upande mmoja, bodi imeenda upande, lakini mzigo bado ni mkubwa pale.
The Standard, what he said, who, of course, Kotu, even the national park must be used to develop Nairobi. But what we had, what we had. Okay. Yeah. Even the national park must be grabbed to envelop Nairobi.
Yeah. Whatever tumeelewa ni kwamba mnataka kugrab national park ya Nairobi. Hivyo ndio tumeelewa. On the Daily Nation, they talk about State House renovations of renovations. That's a project. Because that house has been renovated, it's being renovated again and again. And it's funded by an overtaxed taxpayer. Talking about the renovations at State House. Nini wanajenga? Yeah. That's the main, that's a cartoon. All right, these are the dailies, and we'll be looking at them with my panelists in a short while. Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, and Sabina Chege, who's a nominated MP, will be in studio for that conversation. Do stand by for that.
Meanwhile, interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 News KE. My handle is at @Ann_Dida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe.
My handle is at Fred Ndimuli. See you after the break.
world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation.
Sherehe sasa, kutafutwa kiwanja private, kwa sababu pia unajua tukifanyia kwa huyu Kasongo amezoea kututumia wahuni. Sasa kwa kuna mtu anaweza haribu sherehe Sasa DCP ni chama yenu, sherehe ni yenu, mkaribishe wageni na mulinde mutalinde mkutano. Kama rais ameongea usiongee, lakini nikasema ili ameongea sikubaliani naye. Lazima mimi kama kiongozi nitoe mwelekeo. Mimi nikaita TV nikasema hiyo maneno nimekataa. Hiyo watoto hapana wahuni. Hawa ni watoto wangu. Those are my sons and daughters. And they have a right to be heard. And I disagree with what William Ruto has done. Sasa kutoka hapo sasa kikaumana kati ya mimi na yeye.
Since independence, or let me even say before independence of this country, the struggle for independence of this country, the mention of the name Masai has been synonymous with the word injustice. You have done justice to this community. We begin a journey to correct the very many injustices that has been done to our people.
All right. Yes, indeed. A lot of the dailies today talking about anticipation of the events of tomorrow. What will happen as the country marks 1 year anniversary since the events of June 25th, 2024, when young Kenyans went out to the streets in protest at quite a number of things, one of them including the Finance Bill 2024, which was eventually rejected by President William Ruto. But also a bit of politics there, party politics by the DCP party leader, that's a former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And we've been anticipating the launch of this party for a while. What will happen next? We have one of his allies in studio. And before we get to the big discussion about what will happen tomorrow, karibu sana, Bwana James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. There's been a lot of anticipation, Bwana Gakuya, about the launch of this party, DCP. And we still don't have details about the date and the venue. We've heard the former Deputy President talking about a private venue. Kindly, if you'd be kind enough to share with us some of the details or plans that you have.
Thank you, Idimoni. Allow me to salute viewers there, all over there watching this morning show from. And coming to matters, the DCP party launch. I can only, on the onset, be able to state very clear that the launch of the party was purported to be the last month, and the booking was done and paid. But unfortunately, at some stage, because the booking was made at Kasarani Stadium, then unfortunately, that particular booking was cancelled. And out of that particular backlash, then the party had to re-strategize to look for a different venue. And of yesterday, the party leader, one Rigathi Gachagua, requested that the Ma community, that if now the venue that was purported to be used is not available, that we can use as another stadium in Ma community in Kajiado, allowed between Kajiado and Athi River, somewhere there. So those are the proposed, that is a proposed venue, new venue. And I'm sure if there be no change, that will be the venue. The venue is good enough. It's roughly 10 acres. It is a secured stadium. It's only that the logistics are not yet complete, because I'm sure this week there will be finalization of the date and everything else. But I am sure that the party has decided to take the launch to Ma community in Kajiado.
All right, we are made to understand that the party leader, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, is set to embark on a break or a tour outside the country in a short while, in the next few days. Do you anticipate that the launch will happen before that date, before he leaves, or after?
I am very, let me state very categorically that there is no way that the party leader can leave out of the country without have launched a party. So the wisdom is that he will just clear with the launch of the party before he exits to his opening of offices in overseas countries. Yeah, so he will first launch the party.
So what's the main intention of his travel overseas?
The intention to travel overseas, not that overseas. We have many diaspora Kenyans who have requested him to pay a tour to them. They want to open DCP offices overseas, and that is what we will do for the next 1 month. He will be in that particular routine. Yeah.
After the launch,
meeting Kenyans and also opening offices outside the territory.
Okay, because we had to see even the opening of offices, DCP party offices in Kenya. We're saying that he will prioritize opening offices in diaspora before coming back to open the local ones.
The local ones are what the party decided. The party decided that one, we require the headquarters office, which was opened, and then the party allowed all counties to open county offices. County offices, including Nairobi, are open. It's only that he has not moved to open them officially, but they are open. We were in last week we were in Melo, where we equally opened the Melo County office, and Nakuru office is already, various other number of counties has already opened their offices. It's only that they are waiting the boats to go around, which is not possible, but most likely that senior party officials will go around to open them officially. But they are already existing because every county out of the 7 has their coordinators, and the coordinators are operating from the county offices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we're already in that politically charged mood heading towards 2027, for how long do you expect the former deputy president, who is now the party leader, DCP, to be away from the country? And when should we expect him back?
The tour will be for 1 month. So we will be 1 month away. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the latest from the DCP party, whose launch we anticipate. And as Bonagakuya says, we should expect this in the next few weeks. The dates, at least a few logistics have been agreed upon, including the venue of the launch.
This has to be early before 20th July.
Before 20th July, the launch of the party.
Yeah.
Then after that he leaves.
Then after that he leaves.
But the date we'll have to wait.
The date will be concluded by the NEC, which will meet possibly this week.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's the latest from that. We've also had him talk about how he disagreed with his former boss, with his boss then, on the issues of the Gen Z protests and what led to the events of June 25th, 2024, which is a big discussion now that we have. And if you look at most of the dailies, the Daily Nation talks about the warmongers, basically members of the National Assembly, allied to Kenya Kwanza, who are talking about what should happen tomorrow. On the Standard, exposed. Apparently there is a WhatsApp group where plans are underway to infiltrate the protests tomorrow and brutalize Kenyans. It is there on the front page of the People Daily that there's anxiety in key cities over Gen Z demos. On Taifa Leo, they talk about Tuko Tayari. Now, this has been the main discussion since last week in anticipation of the events of tomorrow, June 25th. From your end, what do you expect as a member of parliament of this city?
Thank you, Edimuli, for that particular concern. My expectation is that all of us, we belong to this country, and we need to protect this country because we don't have another country called Kenya. This is our mother country. Both the government and our youths must take concern of not taking this country into anarchy. And therefore, they should put the interests of the country first before taking any stride to which may take this country to higher. And this case, I want first and foremost to condemn on a very high magnitude the incidents that took place last 1 week during the last week demos, and especially in this particular city, where we witnessed goons purported to be protecting the city, turning into looters and muggers in the city. These goons were very well known where they were coming from. They were mobilized and they gathered in early morning at the city stadium. And from the city stadium, then they back to the city. And they were well coordinated. This is well known, and equally, the security agencies, they are very much aware of this code, of what happens. What transpired is we witnessed during a daylight, our police officers using their vehicles, escorting these goons, all of the patrol vehicles around the city. And the biggest question was it a calculated move? Was it a conspiracy that police were also part of these particular goons to take control? And if this was the case, then we need to know from the IG, what are we missing as security agencies? Because I don't think this country has reached that level to take the control of goons as the security, in spite of the legal entity, which is the police service. In this case, it is very unfortunate that these goons were doing every orgy, every damage in the presence of police, and now no single action was taken. And this can only be done to a failed state. The big question is, has this country run out of its constitutional path? And are we now in banana republic? Because that is what we witnessed. And I would like to say, the biggest I would condemn the governor of this city of Nairobi, because the governor of this city was the author of this plan. And we have every single evidence of what transpired. If the DCI or any other police agency would like to get that evidence, we have it. But our big question is, nobody, because Sakaja is untouchable. He's above the law. Nobody can touch him because he's well protected by state. Are we going to allow this country to move into an anarchy using wrong leadership, wrong leaders? Because you can't tell me a governor of this city is a man who can stoop low to such a behavior. And then what we are calling for is that we are very much aware of what is planned for tomorrow. We are aware that different political elected leaders have been asking for courts to come all the way to Nairobi to take charge. And our big question is, if this government is interested to make peace, or if this government is interested to make mayhem in this country. I am expecting tomorrow, as promised by the IG, that the demonstration tomorrow will be protected by, already given a go ahead, and therefore what the IG and his team will do tomorrow is to protect the demonstrators so that they can be demonstrating peacefully or picketing peacefully. And therefore, I am not overseeing any bad situation after this. Right. But this will only go wrong if these goons are going to be allowed to get into mix to peaceful demonstrators. If this will be the case, note that the goons will be not coming in good intention, and they will be only coming in to make mayhem. And therefore, as incited, as the standard has exposed, if this is anything to follow, then anybody who has communicated in this kind of negative perception of tomorrow, today he should have recorded a statement to make sure that tomorrow we are all sure and comfortable that it will be peace. But we cannot allow this country to be turned into anarchy when we are watching. Right. And our concern as leaders is let the governor of this city allow the youth ones to do their peaceful demonstration peacefully, and let no single outsiders interfere with the demonstration. Okay. And this way, we expect it to end up well.
Thank you, Bwana Gakuya. We also have another member of parliament representing a constituency in the city. This is Beatrice Salachi, MP Dagoretti North. Good morning na karibu sana. Are you concerned with the turn of events in the city, especially what we saw last week? Because on the Taifa Leo, Tuko Tayari is a very positive headline, perhaps the most positive, because the Nairobi Regional Police Commander, George Seda, has already made assurances of adequate security during the upcoming demonstrations tomorrow. He already received the notification, but what we are seeing from politicians is something else, threats of violence against the demonstrators.
Thank you, Ndimuli. I think, first of all, is to appreciate that as women of this country, the way we are using our young people, it is absolutely not the right way. And it is unfortunate that we can depict them to fight to each other. Because all of them, those you call goons, are also Gen Zs. They are young people, children of people. Just because they are in a desperate life, we cannot just again demonize that. You have to think why they ended up to be that way. And why is it that they are very easy to find themselves in crises that were not theirs. But then at the same time, for us politicians, as you say, for me, I'll just say it is wrong what we are doing. I mean, it's like we've just forgotten how many years from 2007. We forget that we do all these things. Either way, it loses out of the hands of the few and becomes a very deep crisis for the country, for all of us. So for all of us, even in the media, what is it positive that you can tell a parent who is somewhere? What is it that we can talk to them that they need to talk to all of our sons and daughters? That even as you go on that street, you're not going now to take and pick somebody's shop and just clear it. The way I saw they did the laptop shop. Nobody spoke about the laptop shop. So if you don't speak about it, that is very unfortunate. They think it is okay. They will come. The next team will be coming, not for mandamandos, coming to see where do we create a crisis so that we do the next. And so that's the unfortunate scenario of what we are seeing. So for all of us, we must sit back and reflect and ask ourselves, are we going to the right direction? If it is, I don't want to call it demonstration. I thought it was a day of just remembering. And so it is peaceful. There is a purpose of why to remember. But if we are calling it a demonstration, then we are also calling it a very tough name. And we can expect it to become now a demonstration, which is very unfortunate again.
Yet a demonstration is provided for in the Constitution.
No, I'm not saying it is.
Assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petition.
Exactly.
And every person has a right to peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate,
yes,
to picket,
yes,
and to present petitions to public authorities. So demonstrations is not really
No, I'm not, Indimoli, don't go the media way, as much as I'm in the media house. I have said, on this one, because we demonstrate on many other things. We do a demonstration so that you awaken. On this one, we are going to remember the numbers that are very crazy, 60 and beyond, for the evilness we did for our children to die.
Okay. As a member of parliament for Nairobi, are you concerned that the police last week appeared to take a step back and allowed goons to take over the city?
You will get concerned and more worried when now one just gets cantankerous, and decides now to do the reality. But then the question will be, as after that scenario, after that incident, which I see Boniface fighting so hard at Kenyatta Hospital, have we gone back to imagine what is happening also on that other side? Can someone give me something? Because, you see, you can push and push and push. And you, like for example now, in all that is happening, tomorrow, that officer, who is a good officer, who is not part of the craziness, might decide, let me just stand at the shop, protect the properties. And so if anything happens in that middle, what is he supposed to do?
All right.
What is he supposed to do if he realizes they have gone haywire? Inside, you've been infiltrated, and you have gone haywire. The officer who is now standing at the shop is who we need to help, how he needs now to engage. Because for him, he will say, I don't want to go again to IPOA. I don't want to lose my job. I'm not willing to lose my job. I have come to protect property so that it is not, if property is not being destroyed, good and well. Is that the right way also? So we must have a conversation that in all this we are doing, we are putting these two into a very, very tough war, and then we will come and blame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there might be tomorrow they will do the Uhuru way, with the way we did with Uhuru. I decided, don't take anyone. I remember we did that one time. Let people go, do their stuff, finish. So it is the Kenyan who is going tomorrow, who should say that I am going to do my demonstration the right way. Police, where they are, do not provoke.
And those two groups have already agreed, and that's the front page of Taifa Leo.
Yes, and I agree with Taifa Leo.
And the people and the police have both agreed that everything will be okay.
It will be okay as long as...
The issue is the politicians here.
No, will the politician go and now start throwing things to create mayhem?
Okay, let's take a short break and come back to discuss this.
Or how will this politician...
The intentions by the politicians are very clear.
Which politician? Me, I need the names.
They are
we are here, me and chairman.
On the front page of the...
If we are the ones, oh, these ones.
And
I'm wondering how the Pokot will arrive in Nairobi.
Let's take a short break. We'll be back.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47. It's only hours. We're counting hours to June 25th, 2025. Exactly 1 year from June 25th, 2024, where very unfortunate events happened. Over 60 Kenyans lost their lives. 80 others are still unaccounted for. Many more made it back home, but maimed and are still nursing serious injuries as they came out to protest against so many things, one of them being the Finance Bill 2024. Tomorrow, the commemoration of the 1 year anniversary since that fateful day will be happening. Kenyans have already indicated this and already sent a notification to the police, who have responded and said that they will provide enough security for those who will come out to express themselves. But our politicians, some of them elected and have the honor of sitting in the August House, have already come out and made very serious statements. On the front page of the Daily Nation, they're being referred to as the warmongers. And the Standard has an expose of a WhatsApp group, which has very senior government officials discussing how to disrupt tomorrow's demonstrations. I'm in studio with MPs Beatrice Elachi, Dagoretti North, James Gakuya, Embakasi North, and nominated MP Sabina Chege now joining us. Good morning, Madam Chege. And I want to pose this question to you because the main concern is how and what will happen tomorrow. We are certain, yes, Kenyans will come out to the streets. Police have already responded and said, yes, we will come out and provide security. But my concern is what politicians have in store for that. And we saw what happened last week, goons linked to politicians and what they did to this city. Do you share in the same concerns that it is the politicians who are funding this violence?
You know, this has been a very political journey, so you can't separate the politicians from what's happening tomorrow. But when I read headlines and I hear in the news about the people who are being mentioned, that they're the ones who are planning. Some of these people have spoken in broad daylight. And I think the security personnel should be questioning them on what they meant. As maybe my colleague has said, when Kamket says the Pokot are coming to town, I highly doubt whether that is a real issue, We know there are people who are planning. Some of them are the ones who are condemning loudly. But God knows they are the ones who are planning. They know themselves. The ones who you have seen here, when you come and tell us there was a WhatsApp group, who access to that WhatsApp group? And who has that information? Some of the people who have been condemned here have written openly. Maybe either some of them out of ignorance or some of them just wanting to make their name. But we know the real planners are not these ones on these headlines. We have seen a WhatsApp group created, purportedly created, and I've seen even before where there was a conversation purportedly that was a real conversation, but that's not really. We know what's happening, even people creating stories and everything else. But we knew last week who are the people who ferried people to come to Nairobi. When you talk about demonstrations, and we know how these things started, our young people came out on the streets, and the first, I think last year, the first and second and third, peaceful. There was no destruction of property, there was no looting, there was no stealings and the kind of evil we have seen in Nairobi. They came in genuinely, they had placards, they had t-shirts, they actually had even a dress code. I remember that time. They came in, they spoke, we had them, and then they left. By 4 or 5 in the evening, they left. What happened after? People took advantage. What we saw last week was unfortunate. And I would plead with the young people as they come to town, be careful. If you're coming to do peaceful demonstration, you can carry placards, you can come to town peacefully and leave. I think we saw last time when Honorable Elachi was saying about the Uhuru's time, when people just came in town, nobody spoke to them, the police were there standing, and they came and left. But what have we witnessed? We are having two groups, and I saw that last week. We saw groups of two groups that came, some with boda boda, some were walking in town, but you'd clearly see there are some who came with the sole purpose to steal, to destroy property. I felt so bad when I saw that young girl where she was standing at a shop, and these young people just came and stole her phone. The man who was walking, I think, from work, you know, you could tell that guy was not interested in what was happening. He was coming from maybe an office, going home. And how those people attacked him. His clothes were torn. They stole everything from him. That was an innocent Kenyan who woke up early to go and look for food for his own family. So is that the demonstrations we are talking about? And I can tell you, the headlines and the people we are talking about that they are the planners, they are not. We have people, and I know we have two representatives of Nairobi here. They know how Nairobi operates. If they are to speak the truth today, they know who are the people who are planning.
And I know it is very easy to go back to your political alliances when this debate comes.
I did not talk about any alliance.
What we saw last week, we saw, and we have images and videos of goons accompanied by police.
I would not
and
say
that's the question is,
I would not say,
despite the political alliances,
let me not say accompanied by police, because you've seen what has been happening to our police officers. Last week, I passed through Uhuru Park and I found a pack of them. I think they're normally dropped there at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. They stay there. I don't think anybody feeds them. I don't think, they're also human beings. They stay there. By the time they're going to town, they're exhausted, they are hungry, they're also frustrated, they're also human beings. Remember, we're also taking our very young people to join the police force. So they're also young. Yeah. So some of them, as they go to town, they are also silently in support of the young people who are coming, because these are their brothers and sisters. Some of them, they are also being blamed and they are being arrested and they are being arraigned to court after following instructions. So what do you expect them to do? They'll come to town. If you attack these people, you shoot them and they are stealing, then you'll be taken to court and you take the burden by yourself.
Is the situation that helpless? Because
I saw it. I saw it last week when, you know, as a policeman, you'll be asking yourself, what options do I have? If I attack these people, if I shoot them, then I'm the one to be taken to jail by myself. I'm left. Nobody is there for me. I've not seen any police officer who has been taken to court having a lawyer.
Isn't that anarchy?
I have not seen it.
Isn't that anarchy? When we accept that the police can surrender their role because probably they fear.
But what have we done? We are the ones who are condemning them. We are the ones who are shouting on top of our voices. And I want to repeat, I have not seen any police officer who have been taken to court and have seen government or even the police service sending a lawyer to represent them. So it's every man for himself and God for us all.
Isn't that the main definition?
That is how we have reached. And that's why I said I would plead with our young people. If you're talking about peaceful demonstration, let us walk, go to town, come out without touching anybody's property.
Why does it feel like we are excusing the statements, the very unfortunate statements that are there on the front pages?
I have said.
Dr. David Ndi was a chairperson of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, and anasema wewe tokea, yeah? And say your goodbyes before you leave home, just in case you catch a stray.
So who is he representing? And that's what I'm saying.
He is a very senior official in this administration.
Is he normally elected in Nairobi? Is he a politician? So we may be focusing, and this what I'm saying, we might be losing focus, focusing on the wrong people. But we know who are the politicians who get people from Dora, from Kayole, from Kawangware, all those sides.
Should we ignore a statement from the majority whip?
They are known.
Last week you incited the youth, and we are aware there are plans to do the same in the name of June 25 anniversary. We are telling you that this time it will not be business as usual.
Where is Osoro elected? Is Osoro even a member of Nairobi anyway?
He's a national leader as a majority.
Yes, he is, but that's what I'm saying. We are focusing on some side shows, but not asking ourselves, Nairobi has its own politicians. Who are these politicians who are bringing
We have two of them here
on
the panel. Wanagakuya, are we saying that these threats, just because they're coming from people outside Nairobi, that they should not be taken seriously? Previously, we've had accusations that some of the youth who came and infiltrated the protests last year came out of Nairobi. Should we ignore threats simply because they're coming out of Nairobi?
One, I want to condemn sentiments made by one member for Muranga, the former member for representative for Muranga, Women Lab. It's unfortunate when he's trying to refer elected members of Nairobi as part of the conspiracy to bring chaos in the city. Were we part of the last demonstration when Sakaja field goals in the whole city, were all seen on a daylight, escorted in what we call police vans? Were they being mobilized by members of parliament? It's unfortunate. Kemani Shongo is in the record this last week that elected members from Nairobi, who last time were being triggered as the one who mobilized the agency to come to the 25th date. It is unfortunate that when the government want to do anything negative, it want to divert, make a diversionary, so that the picture that is on the head is from the other side of the face. It's unfortunate. And this is a cover-up. And that is what Sabina Chege is trying to say here. It is wrong. And I want to accuse her now. And it's wrong. And it must be tell us now, who are those members of parliament you are referring to? It is very wrong. Because this is the behavior of this government, that they want to pinpoint the people who are against the government to be seen as if who are doing the opposite, where they are the one funding.
My question is, who is in control here?
Why is he?
Because it's easy.
It is very wrong. I did not mention.
It is very wrong. Just mention them now.
I've said leaders.
You are in a public media. Mention them.
Yeah, I've said leaders. So why are you upset?
No. It is very easy to point.
Why are you? Have I touched the nerve?
Because we are in this game.
No.
Last
time, touched the nerve?
The battle was directed to us. Me and Major were taken to DCI. We have even cases in court of the similar. We cannot stomach this.
My question is,
let the truth be known.
Yes.
And they should tell us, who are these members you are referring to?
And that's what we are seeking here. The issue is, who's in control of
There is no sacred cows here.
Allow me to ask the question, then I'll allow you to respond to him. The issue is, who's in control? The headlines last week were reading anarchy. We have security agencies in the country. Yes. We have the National Security Council, the apex security organ of this country, where the IG, the Interior CS, the President, all the major security figures sit. Who is in control? Because even when politicians are pointing at each other, then where do we get our help? Where we have allowed police to step back because they fear taking responsibility, then who should take control? And before you get to answer Bwana Gakuya, let me ask you that question, Madam Elachi. Who will we turn to?
Well, you see, Ndimuli, when a country is boiling with politics the way I see, and I say this with a lot of sadness because, you know, in 2007, we started a joke like this. And you go back and just look how we behaved on Kibaki, for us to end up where we were, is having anger that is very dangerous.
It is not anger. We are protecting these people here. then because these people are from outside Nairobi, they cannot be purported to be planners.
And we'll come to that.
But we want just to tarnish the names of the members of parliament in Nairobi.
Madam Elachi.
And that anger in the atmosphere of the country boils in, and Nairobi is the key pillar. It starts from Nairobi. And so for me, in Nairobi, anyone can call boys, by the way. Does not need to be members of parliament. No. Anyone. I have told you, you deal with a software that we have left that is very vulnerable. That as long as they can know, nitapata mboga yangu hapo, kutakuwa na hii, mi naenda. And they are very daring. And it is something we must think through. All of us, I've just said that. Think through. Let us not ignore. Number two, the police officer you are talking about is the 18 to 24 we took. I have said they are age mates. So they can arrive and say, hapana, sisi ni mandugu. Hii vitu ya kutupelekesha hivi, si tumewacha.
And they can defy orders from their seniors?
Where it has reached, they will decide, hapana.
Isn't that the definition of...
And that is why I'm saying, there's a link we have detached ourselves from. And maybe the days when the APs used to be with the people in the community, maybe there was a reason at that time where people felt you understand each other, you can work together, and you can know your boundaries, but work in peacefulness. And maybe they used to help that, but we ignored and thought, oh, now let's just bring them in one stream. So when they're in one stream, if they decide all of them they're going to do this, you have nobody even there to try and think through who is now sober in this team that you can understand. But I have said, we have to be very wary that even as we move the way we are moving, when you push, even you when you are pushed to the wall, you will look at how to get out of that wall. You can't just wait and say the pushing will be thinking differently.
Who's been pushed in this case, in this instance?
No, let me ask. Every day if you talk about, I'm working, every day. Not all of the policemen we are saying are bad. In fact, the majority, they do their work. And they are doing it in a very bad state, by the way, in a state. And then the other thing we forget, the same young people who are in the informal sectors are the informers of the police. They will tell the police where the bad one is. They are the ones. So who said they do not work together? They do not agree on some of, they do. And so, and that is how you use each other. And so you must be, when we are now saying who will run, at the moment here, I think the top has to now, the top of the senior most police must start talking to their teams and try and make awareness. And after all this, can we have a way where the two can start understanding each other? The community policing that we used to do those days. Remember, we used to have community policing with Kenya National Human Rights. And they will come and bring the police, the young people together, have conversations. The young people will say why they fear the police. The police will tell why they find sometimes you are in a scenario that they will not keep you. You know, all that. That thing went. With the new constitution, I have not seen. Yet it used to help a lot, because that is how these young people now come to... Yes.
And that sounds very ideal and should have happened.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We've had a whole year since the events of June 25th last year.
Yeah, I'm not saying because of June.
We are now hours away from another repeat of the same.
And I have said, may we find tomorrow those who have come to demonstrate have come with genuine, that we are demonstrating to remember our peers who passed on because of what we were fighting for, number one. Number two, that the genuineness of the police also is that tomorrow we are there to give you an opportunity to do your demonstrations and go back. We will protect any building. My question was, after they have decided to protect buildings, and in this same team Now these are all young people, civilians, decide to do anything wrong. What is this police officer supposed to do?
Right.
Because number one, he will fear you are many. The only things I have to help to disperse are the things you are saying we should not use.
Okay.
What is this that we are advising them? When it becomes this, you are allowed to come in and ensure people do not hurt each other.
Sabina Chege, there are 17 members of the National Assembly representing Nairobi, plus one senator and one governor. It is very easy to point fingers depending on your side of the political divide. I want you to clarify, when you say that some politicians from Nairobi are responsible for this, what exactly did you mean? And is it depending on political allegiances?
I don't think I spoke here about which side I come from or which side I'm supporting. I am a Kenyan, I live in Nairobi, I am a parent, I feel sad. And I'm affected when we see young lives being lost. It is painful. Even the young man who was shot last week is a young man who came from Murang'a. So this is not about which political side you belong to. And I've said, I did not name anyone, I've said there are political leaders who are in Nairobi, elected or not elected. They know what is happening. When we see goons coming in, they are being fueled at a specific point. We are custodians of this city, and they understand from their background. If today, Honorable Elachi comes from Kawangware, if there's a group that came from Kawangware, she wants to find out, she will know. She will find out, and she can advise even the government, this is what is going to happen tomorrow. So all I'm saying is this, we might be crying. We might be here playing to the gallery, and I know we have even been told 2027 will might make 207 look like Christmas holiday. Really? This is a nation that we all belong. When Nairobi, when there are demonstrations, I think we lose almost 1 billion that day when we close shops. When somebody wakes up very early, opens a small shop, they want to feed their children, they want also their livelihood to protect them. But when we wake up in the morning, our young people, and you remember where I came from, demonstrations started very well. Our young people would go, they had t-shirts, they had banners, they would come to town, they would speak out their mind. Then in the evening, they would go back home. We even saw them buying each other, paying for each other's bus fare, even buying for each other water. That's how it started. But now there are people who have taken advantage. For reasons
back then that goons were hired from outside Nairobi. Some were said to have come from areas in Kiambu and Murang'a.
Well, about goons being hired, I think the ones we saw on motorbikes, I don't think those were Pokots or the other people who came. These are our children that we are taking advantage of. And I think Honorable Elachi mentioned that. We have a very huge number. And I think we need to start now having a different conversation from as leaders who are elected across the nation. We have a lot of our young children who drop at class 8. Where do those children go to? We have others, by the time they clear Form 4, they don't go join any college. They have no other, they stay. Where are these people? Remember, they are the majority. So if Sabina today decide, I want to destabilize Nairobi, and I go give them 500 or 1,000 and tell them go to town, they are not doing anything, they will go. And we are taking advantage of our young children, trying to politicize things, because I might want Elachi or the other person to look bad, but I have said God knows. We knows our hearts. We know what we are doing. And I want to call upon all politicians, you know yourself. If you know you are trying to fund, whichever political divide you belong to, if you know you are trying to fund tomorrow for the youth to come and disrupt the city, shame on you, and may God see you. And if you want to incite children, start with your own. And that is the worst part that we do, because we will come here and we want to seem that we are sympathizing, but we are the ones who are the planners. And my request is this, for the young people, I know you have a message, we are commemorating, let's have planned peaceful demonstrations. And when you see the thugs have come, I will plead with our young people, retrieve and go home, and also give you a statement. So that our innocent young people who are coming in to do peaceful demonstrations, if you find the thugs, just retrieve. Please retrieve and go home. Right. So that the police can also have a chance. Because you see, when all these people are now all over town, you are not able to separate who is this peaceful demonstrator. And I think that's why our policemen, we might be saying it's not that they are revolting, but you are almost not able now to separate. Because I saw they were young people are just walking, and then you see a group has just come, grabbed somebody, and another one is shocked. We actually saw some
in the presence
biting others fighting the other ones. So will the police shoot? You might even end up shooting an innocent person. And even if you shoot that person who is looting there in that shop, then there's a whole huge uproar. So may God help us. And I will say, may God help us. Right. And for the people who pray for this nation, this is our country. And I want to remind us, we do not have another Kenya. Let us not ban our own country.
Okay.
Peace is expensive.
And they say the best form of, the definition for madness is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So when we come back after the break, I'll be looking to you, members of the National Assembly, to give us a way forward on how things can be done differently tomorrow by the police, the National Security Council, and even the demonstrators, and including the politicians. Let's take a short break. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upward, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Indimuli. I'm still in studio with MPs Beatrice Elachi, Sabina Chege and James Gakuya, most of them representing Nairobi and its environs. Our main concern today is what will happen tomorrow. Because we saw the events of last year, and we were hoping that 1 year on, things might have changed. But coming from what we experienced last week, with the hiring of goons and how police reacted to them, or police even appearing to have surrendered their responsibility and allowing the goons to reign free within the city, that is where our concern is coming from. Politicians may be politicians, and let's say that they will still do what they do best. Then where do we turn to? And who should take the biggest responsibility in as far as securing this country? Bwana Gakuya.
Oh, thank you, Dimoli. The reason why a nation or a country have structures is to make sure that everything is working. Protection of people and their property is well anchored under our security agencies. Our borders is military, but our security is under the police service. If you tell me that in fact if queues turns to a particular direction, then our officers are helpless, and therefore their business is to watch things happening while going haphazard. Does that justify that officer is justified to be in that particular job if he's failing to do the obvious? Because for sure, why do we have that structure, starting from the IG downward? It's to make sure that where we know there are gaps, and you feel that in fact you have not enough team to take care, then the obvious is you join those, ask for those other forces related to join and make sure that Nairobi is not even intruded. And we have this kind of scenario when during those crises, then the police were making what we call shield all over the city, and nobody could be able to step in the city. But if the police are in conspiracy with leadership to allow goons to enter, because where does the goons enter from? Keep check from every vehicle entering Nairobi. Do thorough checkup. Make sure there is no anybody who can enter in the city with those jump handles. It is unfortunate that we allow, and our police are monitoring, escorting, vigilance, goons with weapons, rooting, mugging in their watch. Where are we as a country? If we want to take our responsibility, the IG should take responsibility. If he's unable to control the security, he should resign. And you cannot tell Kenyans that he is unable. What you should do as an AG, you cannot you cannot control, then quit. Allow somebody who can have what we call skills enough to give service, then take place. Mm-hmm. But you cannot tell us that you are overpowered. You are overpowered. You have Kenya Police, you have AP, you have GSU, you have all these forces around. Tomorrow, make sure that your team is well prepared. Make sure that in the city, nobody can enter even with a stone, not even a kruba.
Okay.
And that is what we to do. But you can't tell us that goons find their way in. There has to be an entry point. Who allowed them to enter in the first place? So if we want to secure the city, let us do it the normal way, and we know how Nairobi is supposed to be secured. Let us not keep pointing fingers. And especially I'm so bitter when a member of parliament, my colleague, is trying to point finger to members of parliament of Nairobi. It is wrong. This is what happened during the Gen Z. I was in parliament that day. I was caught in a tragic like anybody else. But at the end of the day, the burden, the finger was pointed to us because we are on the other side. Okay. Let us not keep what we call double standard. Let us apply the law on a square way so that all of us, we can respect the law. But we cannot be purporting to be hiding or covering those inciters. How can you leave these inciters scot-free? They are inciting in Pokot, they are inciting wherever they are. What is their business in the city? They control their city or their towns. They leave the city of Nairobi alone. Right. The governor should tell us what is wrong with him. If your name is adversely mentioned and no action is being taken, what is wrong? It means we are applying double standard in services.
All right. Madam Milachi, there's a very curious question we may ask that 1 year later, we still have not resolved the issues that happened last year. Parliament precincts were breached. Members were attacked inside Parliament, where they should be enjoying proper security. The fact that even Parliament itself did not see it fit to probe the events of June 25th, which should have informed us a year later on how to respond to such matters, don't you think that that is part of the problem? That 1 year later, we still haven't discussed what happened last year, we still don't have a proper report, we still don't have proper recommendations on how to tackle similar challenges going forward. Don't you think that even parliamentarians yourselves failed this country?
Well, I didn't fail the country. I voted no. So how did I fail the country?
Voted no to the finance? I'm not talking about the finance bill.
But why was
I'm talking about after the events of June 25th.
Yes.
There has been no proper probe, even by the committees of Parliament, that have resulted in a report and recommendations on how to handle such challenges going forward.
No,
but now we cannot refer to anything.
On that one, I agree. But then it is important. The best people who can answer is the Parliamentary Service Commission, because they needed to have done that. And in their report, they would report on everything that happened, also report, and I'm hoping they have a report.
It's 1 year later would have seen that report.
I'm just hoping they have sat down somewhere. They are organizing that report. I don't want to instigate that they don't have or have, but as you say, I agree with you on that one, that yeah, it was important. It's important, not just it was, it's important. You see, the biggest challenge Kenya faces is that we just do bad things, we kill each other, we do funny things, we move on. I would say this, I think it's important for us to know, the blood also calls. That blood is innocent blood, it calls. And it's not just here, it is many reports that I would wish one day we can see the daylight of it. And maybe that is why this is really pushing. So that is there a way we can just have a conversation? And it's important to have that conversation before we get to 2027. It's very important.
Why haven't we had this conversation? Even beyond what happened in Parliament, with the police conduct last year, and everything that happened, even the conduct of politicians around that time. Why do you think we haven't had that conversation even 1 year later? Why did we find it so easy to sweep everything under the rug and wait until now 24 hours before the anniversary?
I don't think anyone swept it under the rug. I saw the report from the BBC. I mean, many people have worked on something. So I don't see it under the rug. Unless you are saying reports. There was need of... We have a report from the BBC, we have a UN report, but we don't have a Kenyan report that you can refer to. Not from Parliament, not from the police service, no one. Well, but I think we cannot say a Kenyan report, but I mean a parliamentary report. But I believe the police up to now should have also brought out their report. And that report now works for Kenya, and we see what they are also saying. But I also want to see, I can see Isaac is really pushing things at IPOA. I would want to see also a report on the same. And as we do that report, balance the report. It is a report to rectify mistakes.
With recommendations going forward.
Exactly. How do we move? And it should not be a report that people will want to see it so biased that now you wonder, so how do you rectify these challenges we are facing? So it's a report to open up for everyone to speak. I would want to see the police to tell us, because I doubt whether you wake up in the morning, even you as a Kenyan police officer, wishing to find that you have done, killed or done something. I doubt. I know in your mind you would wish to run a society that you can be able to find corrections. And that is why when we take people to jail, we were not supposed to take people to jail for them to suffer, for them to become beaters of others inside there.
Don't you think there's a conversation for the National Assembly especially, that something major happened in as far as security of this country is concerned on June 25th last year, but that did not find proper, apart from the venting.
I have said I agree, and it is something we need to talk about it, and maybe members of parliament of like-minded, we need to just sit and have do a conversation ourselves and to just put in a report.
After
because at the same time, it is important also going forward. Because the other thing also, Ndemuli, is how you look at things in Parliament. You see, one of the things, and I know Sabina has talked about it today, but we also one time came with Chairman and we talked about it, that it is not right when I come with a first reading bill and the first thing will be, now there's a bill to do this. And I said here, some of these things are very sensational, just to make people, you talk, but there's nothing that is going to move. So how can we have that conversation so that any information that is coming, that you know now Parliament has a bill, this bill is going to affect us this way, is clear information without distorting and making people have a lot of anxiety. And then in the end, you find even the thing did not move. This member was just playing with the minds of Kenyans. Those are some of the things we must come and agree. And I know it's a mistake also in Parliament, because Parliament should also sieve and ask itself, are you going to move with this to which level? Okay. Or you just want to sensationalize?
After the 2007-2008 happenings, there was a Kriegler Commission that at least brought the country to closure with proper recommendations on how to ensure such things do not happen again. Don't you think that probably would have been the route to take to ensure that this issue about June 25th does not recur? Depending on what happens next tomorrow, it could recur again next year.
Well, I wouldn't say that Parliament didn't do a probe, but it might have been not a public one and might be a silent one. I think there are several things and changes that my colleagues will say have happened in Parliament since June last year. Many things changed. Actually, one of the major things that you may know is that also the media center was moved from inside the Parliament to outside the Parliament. And I think the issues of the visitors vetting in, and there were several steps, there were several things that were done after. Maybe the Parliamentary Service Commission may have done their own probe but never made it public, so I wouldn't say nothing was done. But towards the lesson learned and what can be able to be done, that is maybe discussion for another day. But what prompted to June 25th? It was again our own conduct, how we spoke to people, recklessness, and as we got this bill that came in, we were not able to explain, and as Elachi has said, when a bill comes to Parliament, it comes in as fresh, it's first reading, there are so many things, and we have a chance to interrogate and remove, and that's what happened. By the time we were coming for second reading, and even the report to be tabled in Parliament from the Finance Committee, already people had, made up their own opinion and they were not ready to listen to anything else. How we handled the communication, everything, I think I've said that before. It is a lesson that we learned, and I think with this year's finance bill, there was a lot of effort even trying to do the Bunge la Mwananchi. I saw the finance minister even engaging the young people. I saw a bit of robustness within Parliament to try and explain what was in the finance bill, and even the time that came for the public participation.
Yeah, those who argue that is the kind of suppressed discussion around the budget is not really about better communication from you people. It's simply because of the suppression of the freedoms and the kind of police brutality that we've seen. That's why probably more Kenyans are not interested in discussing the budget.
The only suppression was, maybe what we would call suppression is on that lady who was arrested. But at least there was better interaction. Remember the last time, there was one media house that held a discussion about the finance bill, and even the chair of budget, the chair of finance was not there. I think they sent my chair, Mutunga, who had no idea. And he actually said he was sent to a forum that he didn't even really understand. So that's really what happened last year. This year we have seen a bit of robustness. We have seen the cabinet secretary, I would say, give it to Bandi. He has tried. He has tried to engage, not once, not twice. He has tried. But this morning when I see the anger amongst ourselves, I am happy, because this is a time for us to come and reason together. This has made me reflect on 2007. And when 2007, when we were at KICC, I was a journalist and I was at KICC. And when we started having the fires in Mathare, wherever else, and across the board in the Rift Valley, I remember at some point we sat as journalists, as colleagues, and we asked ourselves, do we stop broadcasting this thing? Do we stop? Because we have a responsibility. But the sentiment come in, when you are there, you're only a reporter. So you had to call to the media house, and a lot of people are like, I don't have that decision to switch off the camera. My editor, the person who is there behind the doors, must allow me to switch off the camera. It was a very sad moment when we could see Kenya is banning, and Kenya was banning because of what they could see, what we were broadcasting as journalists from KICC. I was there, I witnessed it. What happened? After I was there, I witnessed it. I wouldn't want a repeat of that in this country. So it is a good opportunity for us to come and reason together. I am happy when Mheshimiwa has said we can block the city. And we say anybody coming with machete, and those people who are coming with motorbikes, we block them. But are we again going to incite the young people and say the government is stopping you from demonstrating from your right? So if we as leaders, we can say, let us block the city, protect the city, and we are speaking with one voice, because deep within our hearts, we know that is what is good for Nairobi, that is what is good for Kenyans, that is what is good for our young people. And my prayer is that we are not going to lose any other life, that our children will remain protected. So when such a decision comes, and I think the problem and why we've not had really a lot of progress is politicizing everything. But then we forget, when Parliament was hit, that time they didn't care whether Elachi voted yes or no. Yeah. Parliament was attacked. It didn't matter where you voted. Even the ones who tried to go outside, that they were going to join the protesters. No one was safe. No one was safe. So a time will come. It doesn't matter which political side you support, but no one is going to be safe. So before we get there, why don't we have a conversation, and this kind of a conversation, reason together and ask ourselves, what issues are our young people asking? How are we able to address them with dignity without talking down on them? You know, which forums, instead of the streets, is the street the last solution? Which forums can we create for these young people to come and say, we are upset with you because of 1, 2, 3. Then we might say, this one you misunderstood us, this one we are sorry, this one we're going to make it better this way. Can we reason as a nation? But as long as we keep on calling for demonstrations, as long as we keep on going to the streets and people being killed, we are moving from bad to worse. We need to reason together. We need to create this forum. We need to allow our young people, give them spaces where they can come and speak with one voice. And also we can be able to also listen to us. But right now, no one is listening to the other. Right. And you know the kind of young people we have now, they do a lot of research. They have a lot of information in their hands. So we can no longer dismiss them. We can no longer assume they are children. They are not. Yes, they are children, we'll give birth to them. My children are that age. They are no longer children, they are adults. And we feel you are suppressing our voice, you are not listening to us. So we must create an opportunity and a fora that we tell them, please, let's leave the streets, let's come, we reason together. And that's how this nation will move forward. Okay, we have about 6 minutes to go, so I'll give each one of you 2 minutes for your final comments. It's an opportunity for you to call for sobriety, probably, in what's happening tomorrow, and also condemn these politicians. We cannot ignore the fact that someone could say that youth could come from elsewhere to come to Nairobi.
Thank you, Dimoli. One, I would like also to condemn some incitement sentiment made by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, telling the youth that, in fact, even after the withdrawal of the 2023-24 finance bill, the same contents still found its way back to the finance bill. That is totally inciting these youthful leaders. Number two is also matters appertaining to the current finance bill. He is in record, in public domain, saying that they were able to hide everything and everything passed. Then what is such as incitement you are invoking to these angry young Kenyans? Even though they were to keep peace, then what are you doing as a leader? I think we need to use wisdom words when we want to speak about. And even though at any point you want to praise your master on things that cannot backlash, that cannot bring negativities in this country. I would like to appeal to these leaders, because these leaders have impunity. This Kamket is not the first time. He's in record. The other time was telling us they are known of running country for more than 20 years. These are incitements. The other one is Sudi with his statements. If there are those leaders who have impunity, who has that protection. And that means that, in fact, they are untouchable. It is wrong. And if we want to apply peace direction, all of us, we must converge on a center and say, this is our country, all of us. And therefore, let us preach peace to every corner of this country. That's the only way we can secure it. But if the business is to make pointing of fingers to those who are not on our side in what we call the political violence, it is wrong. And there's no way that we can arrive to any decisive mechanism. As a city, the governor of the city needs to call on the members of the Nairobi, including the MCAs, and talk about how to make peace in the city. But if you want to be work as a own leader and you want to be called names, then we should be called out, because leadership must start from top, going down. So we need to see leadership from the top, that's the head of state, leadership from the counties, of the 47 number of counties. And that's the only way we can be able to experience peace. But if people think that actually they are untouchable and they are protected and others are just less Kenyans, it cannot work. If we mean and we talk our walk, then let us, all of us, converge and talk about peace in this country.
Thank you, Bwana Gakuya. Madam Ilachi, you go next.
I think for me the most important thing to all of us leaders is that it is important to have peace in your country, because all over right now we can see how every country is at the moment. Remember, Tanzania and Uganda are going to the elections, and therefore you don't have to think far. We must protect our country. We must appreciate that for the many years that we have seen our young people leave university as leaders, those who were there, as who are here, never put in a better process of how to manage the teams that were coming out, something that they can be doing as we move, as you think. Right now, I know there are many challenges. The job challenge is there. You realize we are moving digital. It means the space of even employment is becoming smaller and smaller. So what do you do with this big team that is graduating every year and becomes and feels very frustrated on what they need to do? But lastly, on Nairobi. In Nairobi, why I normally call it a bed of fire is because everyone who has finished school in the rural, whether does not proceed to go to campus or college, believes I come to Nairobi to look for a job, any job. And so the numbers are huge. And the more they stay now and they start now learning how to survive in the city, the survival becomes very tough and they become tough. And so you cannot use that as a level of saying now they can come out to do the opposite, because you'll have created a mayhem we cannot stop. So we cannot use our young people, even tomorrow, to try and say, now they are coming in to be one. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that tomorrow. To our young people, let the ones who will come voluntarily, do their demo, let them go back. But I want to say this also to the church. I know the church can stand and start focusing back to the days where the church would say, we are focused this way, you criticize government, yes, but you look of alternatives. That's what the church used to do. And maybe why we have these reports. You remember those days, the church will now come to embrace and say, things have gone wrong. You people must sit down and do this. Now that voice is also so silent, and so you find we are in another crisis that we don't know what to do. So I'm pleading to the church, take the professional place. Because I always say in the Bible we had the priest, the prophet, and the king. The prophet today is the professional who has to come with complete sober mind without thinking who is this politician and who is this, and bring back the plate back to its place.
Thank you.
How I wish.
Finally, Sabina Chege, wrap it up for us.
You know, what I would want to say is that we need to build Kenya, not ban Kenya. And there are people who take advantage of demonstrations, and they are in business as long as we have demonstrations in this country. So what I want to say as leaders, and leaders, you don't have to be elected. Leaders, we have leaders in various capacities. Whatever we plan in darkness, we might escape the eye of the justice. We might also even escape the public eye and come out as innocent. We might not even hit the headlines. We might not even have an advantage of being accused, like Mheshimiwa was saying. But we know, you know yourself that you're planning. Just know one day it will catch up with you. We cannot keep on losing young people when people are taking advantage of them. Okay. What I want to say, it doesn't matter which political side. We don't have elections tomorrow, and I keep on saying that. But we need this country today, tomorrow, and the day after. We are only custodians, and God has given us an opportunity to be leaders now. Tomorrow will not be there. And nothing is permanent. No president will be there forever, no MP, no governor, no MCA, no senator. You need leadership. Even here, you'll not be here forever. But what you'll do when you have this position is what will determine even your future. So let's not court for curses. Let's look for blessings. And we need to reason together. I want to say we need to do something called soul searching as leaders. And we know there's only God sees everything that we do. But most importantly, to our young people, I'll plead with them tomorrow. If you come out, you find that the goons are even more there in town, go back home, say a prayer for the young people we lost. There are several ways of killing a cat. You don't have to go to town. You don't have to be involved in the mayhem. You can even sit in your house and pray for those lost souls. And most importantly, pray for this nation. So I would say we also pray for the wisdom of our security team, because they're also human, they're also Kenyans, that they may know how to handle this, that they will keep everybody safe. For the ones who are planning chaos, I will plead with them. Just if you had woken up tomorrow knowing I'll steal 100 phones, or I'll do this, or I'll do this, do a soul searching and ask yourself what you're doing. If you're in that position, would you also want to be done the same?
Right.
So let's not just say it's a responsibility of the leaders, it's a responsibility of all of us, because you're all Kenyans and you have one beautiful country. We have seen our neighbors, you know, we have seen what has happened when there is no peace. Peace is expensive, you cannot buy it with money, but let us know that we have been given a responsibility in all areas, whether you are a journalist, whether you are a politician, whether you are a church person. Don't be the person to incite. Don't be the person to fuel the fire. Okay. Let's keep this country safe.
Thank you so much. Sabina Chege, nominated MP, Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, and James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. A lot of concern on the front pages today about what exactly will happen tomorrow. Anxiety in key cities over Gen Z demos. That's the People Daily. Tuko tayari kwenye Taifa Leo. I think the most alarming on the front pages of the Daily Nation, where they're talking about warmongers, quite a number of politicians issuing threats with regards to tomorrow's actions, and the Standard, which talks about an expose about plans to infiltrate tomorrow's demos with guns. Thank you so much for your time, and we are hoping for better headlines come tomorrow morning. It's only hours away as Kenyans mark the first anniversary of the events of June 25th, 2024. One of the headlines on the inside the Daily Nation on page 4 talks about businesses which were looted by goons last year, still grounded a year later. After the break, we'll be having George Monga, finance and accounts insurance analyst, talking about business resilience after disruptions. And Odida, my colleague, will be having that conversation. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Let's hope for better headlines tomorrow.